So what we're going to do now is we're going to have opening remarks by the queer people of color. So if you want to start, go ahead.
Cool. I'll start. My name is Ocean Fox. I'm a senior at Mizzou. Member of Eta Gamma Sorority Incorporated, as well as queer people of color. What all am I supposed to be introducing?
Just yourself.
Hello everybody, my name is Misha Duke, you can call me Ro. I'm a senior here as well. I'm a member of another Black Greek sorority, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity. What's up, Frat? I would agree to you.
Okay.
I identify, I guess, I don't like labels, I'm one of those type of people, but I do have a girlfriend. Many of you probably see me walking around here with her on campus, so, hello, and I'm loving you.
Hi, my name is Jeff Perkins. I'm a senior here at the university. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. Anybody cares about that? All right. I identify as queer, so queer and Black. I guess we'll get into that type of stuff. Hi.
Hi, I'm Marcus Thurmond. I am a member of the LGBT community and the Black community. My sexual identity identify as a genderqueer, and well, I guess it's like really fluid though. Like it comes in and out, and also like I guess my sexuality is just queer. There's like no.
My name is Sequoia Moore. I'm a freshman here, and I'm from Oklahoma, if that matters. I identify as queer.
I identify as queer too.
All right, so everyone has had an opportunity to hear from the panel. So right now we're going to enter into the Q&A section. We're going to be talking the talk, proper terminology. So the panel has in front of them questions about the phrases that are, you know, what are some phrases or words that are inappropriate to refer to the LGBTQ community. So we present that to you guys, or to you guys, my bad. So does anyone, it doesn't have to be you or you, anyone can begin. Yeah.
Dyke. I don't like that word. Don't call lesbians dyke. Some people like that term, some people don't. More so, I guess, old heads. I guess it depends, but that's just negative term. Don't call it.
Fag. Like, we all know that's negative. Let's not say it ever to anyone.
The variation of that faggot, you know.
Carpet muncher.
Butch.
Or don't ask the question. I know some of you might have done it, don't feel bad, but don't, if you have a friend or a family member, anybody's part of the LGBTQ community, and they're a part of, I guess, you know, a same-sex relationship, I know a question that gives me a pet peeve is, who's the man and who's the woman? We're both
Oh,
females.
yeah.
We're both females. That's something, don't ask people that. What are other ones?
I think like personally, I don't think you should like let like inappropriate like language like that like have power over you, because I mean like if you actually like let those things like, you know, if you give those things power and like, you know, you let those things like have a negative effect on you, then like, you know, ultimately that's gonna like bring you down. Like you're giving them power to like bring you down, like, you know, and I don't think that you should like, so pretty much I don't think that you should let anyone pigeonhole you, because I think like, you know, we all have like multiple layers like to who we are, and I just think that we should like really like, you know, be open-minded about like these multiple like layers that we all have, you know.
I think a question I hate is kind of like if I'm dating a girl and the girl that I'm dating decides to dress more masculine and feminine, they're like, well, why date a girl that dressed like a boy and why not just date a boy instead? That's obviously not the same difference. If it was, I would just date a guy. So yeah, I don't like that question. It kind of offends me and it offends the person I'm dating too.
So based on what you guys have heard, what are some questions that have been cycling in your mind that you want to try to present to you?
I know personally, and it happened today, when I wear my Mizzou feminism shirt, I always get the, so are you a lesbian? And I'm wondering, like, if any of you guys like wear like Mizzou Pride or Mizzou feminism or anything like that, like, how do you respond to that?
I just think it's ignorance. I would tell them to take a women's gender study class, because if you've taken at least one women's gender study class or intro class, they're going to address those topics, and then that will, kind of filter out that ignorance. But I think, just inform them, feminism, what feminism is to you, because I know there's the first wave, third wave, the new feminist, the extreme. Let them know, as your identification of it, and then go forth with that. That's what I would do. I wore my Mizzou Pride shirt, but I guess I don't get a reaction because people already know my persuasion. But for someone who might be on the borderline, people don't know, I feel like that's the time for you to inform them yourself and let them know, that's an ignorant comment to make, because you could actually offend somebody. You actually offend me. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would say, but I don't know.
That's a good suggestion. Whenever somebody tells me, like, if I have on like a QPOC shirt or something, I mean, I've never personally gotten that because I guess people kind of pretty much know who the hell I am. Whatever. But I would just direct them to resources. I mean, the good thing about Mizzou is that we have all these resources here on campus. You can learn to go educate yourself. Like I try to tell people that all the time, like, you spend so much time here and you spend all this money here, and you don't take advantage of things like the Women's Center, the Multicultural Center, the LGBTQ, RSVP, like all that stuff is always there. But I think a lot of people are also afraid of going to those places because they don't really think they're there for them, which, I mean, I think that's just a campus-wide problem, not just a pure, like, queer problem. Just being able to feel comfortable and to go in the place and know that you're welcome regardless, because I know this is very welcoming. Like, wherever I go on campus, I know that I'm pretty much welcome, downstairs, rather.
So I think, like, for me, like, I think, like, it might be applicable to everyone else, I'm not sure, but I think, like, if you love yourself, like, and like, the things that, like, matter to you, and, like, the difference, like, that you can, like, make, or, like, the things that you can bring to the table, then you can use those things in order to, like, further, like, your like, total, like, like, your total, like, overreaching goal, like, and, so, I mean, I have, like, a Mizzou Feminism, like, button that I put on my my backpack all the time, and I actually got from this one woman in my Women's Gender Studies class, like, this semester, and I wear, like, a QPOC shirt, like here and there, but it's, like, those things, like, I know that those things, like, matter a lot to me, like, essentially, and, I just think that if you know that, then, like, it doesn't really matter what other people think, like.
I think if it's important to you, which I imagine it is, you want to address it in a way that's serious, but you don't want to be too abrasive where you shut them off, because that's the problem sometimes, is people don't even ask questions. So when someone asks you a question, even if they approach you incorrectly, you might want to just say, future reference, this is not how you really address someone, this is actually offensive, but let me tell you why. Or let me, what I'm saying? Like, instead of just saying, excuse you, and brush them off, because then no one else is going to ask that question, and then they're not going to be able to educate themselves or other people. So, and that's just kind of like with everything in general. If someone approaches you with a question that's like inappropriate, you want to correct them and tell them that that is offensive, but let me set you straight in a nice way.
And just like tonight, like us having this forum here too, it's for you all to ask those questions that you think that you don't really know how to ask, or that you may think that's offensive. Like, we're here to, like, talk and educate each other about it too. So don't be afraid to ask us anything.
Yeah, ask anything.
Like, it's no.
If you came to the meetings that we have, we're not gonna attack you.
Like,
I really like what you said, Ocean, like, just, like, approach every situation with, like, love and compassion, ultimately, like.
Any other questions?
You guys have any other things that you want to ask since we're cycling around? Don't be afraid to ask questions. This is, like I said before, this is an intentional community, so ask questions.
Actually, I have a question. The term queer, some people use it in a negative sense. So if somebody's calling you, like, negatively a queer, but you guys identify yourself as queer, how do you differentiate between that?
I think that when we were going over the terminology about, like, what do we deem as offensive, like how Ro was talking about, some people use the word dyke, or some gay men may refer to themselves or each other as fags. There's a difference between using words in a pejorative way than reclaiming the words. It's called reappropriation. When you reappropriate a word that has been used to harm you in a way, you take the power back that people use it against you. So by me saying that I'm queer, it's by me saying that I identify differently, because to explain the idea of queer, I mean, to say I'm queer is a political statement as well. It's a political identity as well, because even within the LGBTQ community, there's still certain expectations and roles that people want you to be in, that they deem that you should be. So, you know, there's different kind of people that want you to be a certain kind of gay man or a different kind of lesbian or something like that. But by me saying that I'm queer, I say that I don't really identify with any of that. Even though I have same-sex attraction to men, I also understand that my sexuality is very fluid. I understand that I don't identify with everything what it means to be deemed as to be like, oh, that's a gay man right there or whatever else. So those indicators or those social norms or whatever those expectations, by me saying that I'm queer, I'm taking the power back from that. It's the same way like in the black community, how some people reclaim the word nigga. That's taking the power back from people who have used to say it like in a harmful way, if you get what I'm saying.
And saying queer also, it's breaking down that binary. So us as, you know, being in the LGBTQ community, we break down that binary of the heteronormativity that we live in every day. And by Jeff or Sequoia or Marcus identifying as queer, they're breaking down that binary, believe it or not, that we have within our own community and the labeling that we put on ourselves as being queer on top of that. It's just a way of saying, no, I am my own type of whatever you want to call it.
Tim, do you have a question?
Can you define what queer is?
I was just about to kind of say on that. Well, one, to finish off her, I think it's context, big, a lot of it.
Right.
However, the tone in which you say something to me, no matter whether it's usually offensive or not, can depict if it's actually offensive to me. But as why I go by queer versus anything else is because when I use the term bisexual, people immediately decide to ask, okay, well, how many girls have you dated? Oh, who are you currently dating? Well, I'm currently dating a guy. Okay, well, so you're actually straight. Like, you know what I'm saying? They kind of discredit what I actually tell people as my sexuality. If I say bisexual, because if I'm bisexual, I actually must be dating a girl, is what the people sometimes assume. So if I just say queer, maybe they'll take it as a more, I don't know, serious tone or something. But apparently the word bisexual just doesn't seem to get my point across to people. I mean, they don't believe it.
The term queer itself is hard to define because, I mean, if you think of the context of queer, queer means strange, queer means different. I mean, so it's like it really doesn't have a definition to it, like it is what it is, essentially. So, I mean, either you can explain it. Yeah, it's an umbrella term. We try to use it as an inclusive term within the LGBTQ community. Like, sometimes it's easier because all those letters can be a bit mouthful. Like, I'm tripping up right now. But, I mean, so if we say, like, the queer community, we're talking about people in the LGBTQ community, people outside of the heteronorm of society.
I think if you're like a person that identifies as queer, like you definitely have like a different outlook on like life, and it's like not maybe like necessarily like understood, like you know by like just like every person.
I mean, you can be queer and you can have attraction to people of the opposite sex. I mean, it doesn't have to be purely a same-sex attraction.
Pretty much your definition.
Yeah, it's just whatever you define it as. Like I said, it's not really a solid definition. That's why it's queer, essentially. So.
Well, to add on to that, I think we've asked the questions that follow after this a little bit. Why do people inside and outside of the LGBTQ community use those terms and the effects of it? And the panel kind of discussed about that, how it affected the community. What power do these words have over the way you operate in everyday life? I think they kind of gave a good synopsis over that. So I guess now could we go to the assimilation of queer people of color? One of the questions is, what does it mean to be assimilated as a queer person of color? So I present that question to you guys.
Wow.
Well, I think assimilation is, well, when you think about assimilation, it's like how you are placed and how you fit into society and what society expects of you. To assimilate is mean to just be like, go along with the status quo. So I don't know, like when people think about like the whole gay rights issue or like whatever else, like what's the number one topic that comes up? Everybody can shout it out. Marriage. And what is marriage essentially?
The unity of
Okay, but I mean, when you think about marriage, who do you normally see? Who are the dominating figures of marriage? Men and women. So when you assimilate into society, it's essentially like saying like, well, I want to be this way because this is the majority and this is what I see, and so clearly I should want this for myself. I can speak for me personally. The whole idea of marriage itself is not really. I mean, especially for queer people of color, even when you look at the whole idea of like marriage equality, all you see are like upper middle class white men. So I mean those are the people that represent that. So that's not all what us as queer people of color really care about. I mean, you know, we have to worry about being kicked out of our homes and being homeless and being shunned by our families. And you know, though they face those issues too, but like when you just think about like, oh, this is the whole issue about gay rights, it's marriage. I mean, marriage is a very heteronormative thing to do.
Some people in the LGBT community don't support gay marriage, so you
Yeah.
will find some of us that no, because like Jeff said, that's a simulation, and then we're just going along with the flow, ebbing along with the flow. But the question, what does it mean to be assimilated as a queer person of color? I mean, I don't think we assimilate just because we are queer people of color. Obviously, you know, and in the Black community, everyone knows, you know, homophobia is large, it's huge. That's why they named the event Homophobia in the Black community. So I think we don't assimilate at all. I mean, some of us might have to when we return back to our homes or in the workplace. Some of us don't have to, thank God. But I don't think we assimilate.
So after you guys hearing that, what are some questions in your mind that you think you would want to ask? You know, what it could be anything. I could present one. Like, so as a person of color myself, and a person who comes from a very mixed heritage as myself, I'm a Creole de Keller. I'm from Southeast Louisiana, so I speak French. And for someone who has that type of ethnic background, and say if I were queer, if I identify myself as queer, gay, or whatever, how would those factors to you kind of present to a family who has a heritage about themselves? If you see what I'm saying, like, my people don't do this. You know what I'm saying?
So like ethnicity?
Yeah, that ethnicity, that type of heritage. My people don't do this. That's the white man's problem. That's not the black man's problem. So, how would you say that?
Doesn't it all like it all comes from like the Black church, doesn't it? Like,
I mean, not necessarily.
like, or most of it.
I wouldn't say everything.
I mean, Black church is a big.
It's a big part.
It's a
Yeah.
big. What am I trying? I'm looking for the word.
Component, factor.
Factor? Yeah. It's another word. I'll think of it. I'll shout it out. But no. I mean, it's just. I think when I think about assimilation, I think about it too because we are queer people of color, so therefore we have to worry about our queer identity, but we have to worry about our racial identity as well. Just going back to the idea of marriage, how it's only represented by upper middle class white gay men. We don't look like those people, so therefore we can't identify with them. Although that we may have a similar fight when it comes to homophobia, we still have to worry about our intersection of races with that as well. And a lot of people won't tell you this, but that queer people of color face a lot of racism within the LGBTQ community, like from a lot of people. And people don't, I mean, you know, you don't really see that. And when I tell people that, they're like, really? I thought you all were like unified and skipping down the street with rainbow flags. And I was like, no, girl, like, no. I have to deal with being the minority within the minority of the minority, and nobody supported my ass. So,
I was gonna say, this is like, how do you assimilate if I can only choose one identity at a time? There isn't a forum. Like if I'm doing something for LGBTQ, it's well, I'm now going to identify as this person, and I'm going to leave my race over here because I need to focus on gay rights and this, that, and the other. And if I'm going to go to you know, black meeting of some sort, a rally, I have to focus on being a black person. Most of the times, there's not a space in either of those where I could be both at the same time. Like me being black and, you know, queer, that can affect my argument or whatever my purpose is in this realm, and me being bisexual in the black community could be a problem as to whatever it is the black people are trying to fix. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do both. I need to hide one identity to fix another, and there isn't a space to do both at the same time. Therefore, I cannot assimilate.
Well, I think that the queer person of color revolutionary stance is working to like actually combat the fact that there's not like one space for it all, because I think like it's not just our problem, but it's everyone's problem that like it comes down to, you know, there's differences there's differences are multifactorial, like, you know, there's so many differences in society, and like it's not just our struggle, even though we are like you know, like a minority within a minority within a minority, but like, you know, we ultimately have to like, you know, bring everyone like together, you know? Like that's just what it is.
And I think on top of that,
Oh,
that assimilation is, what it's saying is that there's a norm, like there's a normal that people need to be, like there's a box that we need to be in. And that's not true because there is, like, when you really think about it, whether it's between heterosexuality and being queer, or whether it's being black or being like another race, there is no normal. Because if you call one person normal, then you're saying the other person is abnormal. So.
You had a question, young man?
Yes. Since we did speak on gay marriage, I myself, or you see as gay marriage, white, upper class, I myself as a middle class straight woman do want to be married, so I want to know people who are in same-sex relationships, how do you feel like, do you want to be married?
I do.
I wouldn't necessarily say I want to be married, but I want some type of ceremony or recognition, you know, and I want the same benefits. I want those benefits. Like, I want those tax deductions if I do get, God forbid, you know, when after I graduate and get a job, I want my girlfriend or whoever my significant other is at the time, hopefully it's still my girlfriend, be able to have the benefits that I get the same health care. So those things, I believe everyone should have those rights. Now, the title and the institution of marriage, I don't believe that it's that we put it up on a pedestal when there's so many things going wrong with it without throwing queer people in the mix. So that's something totally different. So not per se marriage, but no, but I want the same rights and the same benefits as every other citizen in this country when it comes to me and my significant other. So if I die and my girlfriend has no right and no will over what to do with my body or my possessions or anything, I think that's a problem. So that's what I stand for in the kind of gay marriage. But
yeah, I would agree on like just having the rights, just being able to have those benefits. That's the only reason why I would think I would ever want to be married, but I don't really feel like that.
For me, I mean,
the whole idea of, I'm sorry, the whole idea of marriage itself, like if you think about the history of marriage, like marriage was pretty much just saying that another woman was somebody else's property, like essentially. Like, so women had no ownership of themselves and what they wanted to do with their lives. I don't really get down with that. I identify as a black feminist, so I'm not really here for that shit. But, I mean, it has, like, I think a lot of things in life, it has its benefits, but then it has a lot of its not so much. But yeah, just like what Rose was saying, I would definitely do it just to have the benefits of being able to visit my partner. He was sick in the hospital, like being able to just have the visitation rates, because queer people just don't have that.
yeah,
like,
for people that have been married for years, partners for years, like there's a case that was just on the news about a man, his partner died, he had no say, he couldn't be in the hospital room, he didn't have say if they pulled the plug on his partner or not, and I feel like that's an injustice. I mean, it's not fair that for anybody, that's wrong, period.
This one in the back have a question? No one in the back? I saw a hand raised. Okay.
Oh, but I was saying, like, well, just like to defend my case, like, well, like I want to be married just because of like love and like it's just that, like, there's nothing else, like, and then it's like you know, like artistic influences, but like
Marcus is a hippie.
Marcus is because it's awesome, and I want to try it, and I want flowers.
Yeah, that's why
Well, to go back on that about the assimilation and idea, I think that individuals want to have a colorblind approach to this particular situation. They want to say, you're there, you're just there. But to me, when we live in a race-conscious world, you have to talk about race. You just can't ignore it and say we're going to have a colorblind approach to it. The same way with people who are biracial, multiracial, and of different ethnic groups such as myself. I identify with being black, I identify with being French, and I identify with being Spanish. So whenever I speak French or whenever I speak Spanish, I want you to respect it. So I think I can understand the whole issue with assimilation. One of the next questions is being assimilated or socialized into the non-LGBTQ population a bad thing?
Well, I'll start off. I guess I'm always yes and no. It's nice to be, like you were just saying, like being acknowledged for who you are and like all your multi-layered identities. It's nice to be acknowledged for that. I mean, I think it's bad when you think that like what straight people have is like what you should strive for. Like, we're queer, we're supposed to do this shit differently. Like, no. I just don't think that's like, it's just like the whole idea of like straight privilege, like the whole idea of like with white people, how they dominate everything and how they have white privilege over people of color, and how like you look to white people like, well, if you want something nice, well, look how the white people do it. Look at the Joneses, like look at all that other stuff. I think that that's not really how you should go about that. I think that you should want to create and build spaces for yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with that at all. If you don't want to get married because you think it's a very straight thing to do, then don't do it. If you don't want to shack up with somebody, don't do it. Like you don't have to. Like you're queer. Like you're supposed to be able to have that freedom to do it differently because you are outside of that dominating norm of heterosexuality. So that's what I would say.
I don't think, only time I would say it's a bad thing if it's hindering your personal growth or keeping you from being who you are. Now, if assimilating or being socialized is a natural part of who you are, you know, from the time we were born, we all have been socialized, you know, either you're a boy or a girl, you're a girl, wear pink, wear dresses, play with dogs, you're a boy, play with cars, be tough, you know, do this, whatever. We all have been socialized and assimilated in some sort of way. But as long as that assimilation and socialization isn't hindering you as a person, as your physical, mental, emotional growth, as long as that's not keeping you from being with the person you love, then that's not a problem. But yeah, if me and my girlfriend, people have seen her, she is not a gender conforming female. She doesn't wear the tight fitting clothes. She dresses like a nigga, like a boy, like a man. My bad, excuse my language, everybody knows it. Anyway, you know, her, when she goes home, I'll tell y'all, she has to change. Her mother is a she's very religious, that's all I'm going to say. She's a member of a Black Greek sorority, so that'll be another layer that I can tell you about her. And she doesn't want my girlfriend dressing the way that she dresses here. So when she goes home, she has to put on the tight clothes. She has to get her eyebrows done, make sure that her hair is up and everything. And that's a problem with socialization and assimilation, because that's her girl, she goes through so much stuff. It's crazy. But like, when that stuff happens, that's when I have a problem with socialization and assimilation, because I've seen it happen to people personally. I've seen her cry after her parents have came in the room and tore her down about, are you turning into a man? What are you trying to do? This is not how we raised you. This isn't the daughter we raised, when she's been the same person her whole life. They've just been refusing to see it, and they've been pushing her, no, be like this. Made her join, you know, the Delta Debutante balls and go to everything and do all that stuff, when that's really not her. So that's my problem with assimilation and socialization, because people like that have to go through battles every day.
Did anybody come see Pariah last week?
Yeah, that's a prime
example. Do you
example.
remember when Malika, like when she was on the bus and she had to take off like all her clothes, her street clothes, and she had to put on the shirt that her mom picked out for her, and she, even when they were going to church, and she said, no, this is not me. What Bro was talking about is gender policing, like when you police somebody else's for their gender expression or identity. Of like, this is how women are supposed to look and act, this is how men are supposed to look and act. So like, that's what Bro was kind of talking about, if you already know.
So after you guys have heard that, what are some things that you think are important?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I guess in accordance to you, Bro, I have a lot of friends who belong to the LGBT community. I guess is it offensive being that your girlfriend dresses like a guy? When you greet them, are you expected to hug them because they're dressed like?
That's a good one. Me and her talk about that all the time, because that's the thing. She says men don't know how to come to her.
But
she has a very feminine face, a gorgeous face, but then they look at her clothes and they get mind fucked instantly, because they're like, okay, is this a man? Is this a woman?
Exactly.
Am I supposed to dap her up? Am I supposed to hug her? I just hugged her girlfriend. You know, people will see both of us. They'll hug me because, you know, I'm more feminine.
Right.
But then they'll go up to her and give her that. But since she's comfortable in her sexuality, she doesn't get bothered by that. But I guess it just depends on the person. She's cool with, you know, people, you know, okay, what's up, Maya, how you doing? But then again, some men hug her. She is a female. She has male friends. Jeff's one of our good male friends. He hugs Maya when he sees her, just like he hugs me. He doesn't change up his mannerisms just because of the way she dressed. But I guess it depends. That's a good question. Some females are so, you know, so masculine, just like her, that they just want to respect me, give me the same respect that you would a male. But some females, they can go both ways. It doesn't matter. But it depends on the person, really. I think you have to know, that's when it comes down to knowing the individual personally and knowing, okay, this is the type of person they are, this is how they want to be addressed. That's a real good question. We talk about that all the time.
I think it comes down to having an open mind too, like,
Yeah.
as being a person, like if you're like a person with an open mind and you come at someone like, you know, with an open mind and you're just like, oh, you know, like,
Or you could
I
just
love
say
them.
hi to somebody.
Yeah.
I
Or if
love
you
them
unsure,
who they
just
are.
wave. Acknowledging and waving and speaking to somebody, that does wonders. Because sometimes people will look at you and look at her, and just the way she looks, won't make eye contact, won't look at her, walk straight past her, and that's more offensive than you not doing anything. The fact that you asking and you're concerned and care, that speaks a lot on as you as a person. On you as a person.
If you're comfortable enough to hug the person, you're probably comfortable enough to ask, or you probably already know how they like to be approached. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're just now meeting this person, would you really go, hi, how are you? Giving them a hug anyway? You might just kind of be like, hey, how are you? And then kind of warm up, see how they feel, see how they like it. Might not just, everyone's not a hugger. So I don't just approach people with hugs.
Get to know the person, honestly.
Consent is a big thing too. But that's just a human thing. Don't touch me unless I allow you to.
So after hearing this from the panel, because I'm going to move on to the next question. Do you guys have any more questions that you want to, propose to the panel based off of what they've said? Did they answer a few questions for you?
Well, you mentioned earlier you were talking about like your experience in towards the black sorority. Do you have any challenges, or do you feel different? Do you have to conform to stereotypes?
We can vote. We can ask answer first if we want to.
No, but then again, I think some people kind of, just because I don't openly say, oh, well, I'm dirty girls, but then again, like, why would that be a general conversation anyway? Like, you don't just come up to me and be like, hi, I'm straight. Like, because that's kind of awkward. Like, why would that be normal conversation? So if it happens to come up in conversation, then it does. I mean, my story hasn't had any problems with it. I have heard of, like, older members, but that might just be because they're older, I don't know. Just having a kind of a side eye towards like, oh, she has a girlfriend. Interesting. But I don't know if that, like, in person, I haven't seen it.
And to add on to that, I want to kind of support her in that because of the fact, I remember when I crossed Phi Beta Sigma, one of my line brothers was openly gay. And one of the things that I ensured for him was that I was his link. I was going to make sure that nobody messed with him. Nobody was going to kick him or say anything bad about him because at the end of the day, that is my brother. I take that as seriously as I take breathing. So I want to, support you in that because I think that's very important for you to.
I don't know if it's harder for men in the fraternity to have to deal with that.
I would say.
I think personally, from my experience, I think black men in general can't have intimacy with other men because, like, you can't say, I care about you, I love you, dog, without qualifying it with no homo. So it's just the interpretation of like, this is the man's zone, like you can't do it.
Honestly, personally, with my chapter and here in Mizzou, I love the community here. Like, that was one of my main concerns. I crossed my sophomore year, and that was one of my main concerns because before I got to Mizzou, I knew who I was. I was out of my high school. So that was one of my main concerns. But no, I've had support. Of course, there are going to be older people and people who, are devout with their morals, and they don't agree with that. I have, old head sorors that, wouldn't even, and I don't even, address or speak on that in front of them just out of respect for them because I don't want that confrontation. But, I don't have any problem, especially, and when I'm doing Zeta business, that's Zeta business. That's not Rose's personal sex life, what she does in her room. But I will speak for men. It is a lot harder for men. I've had friends here at Mizzou that have wanted to join Mizzou's Black Greek life and know because they're openly gay that they're not going to get in. And I think that's something that we need to work on as a community because I know there are members in each organization across the country have friends that are homophobic in each organization, and then I have friends who identify as LGBTQ that are in each organization. So I think it just depends on where you're at and who you run into. You're going to have those people that don't care, people that are lukewarm, and then people that are just they're not down for it at all. So it just depends.
So to end on that note, I want to move on to the next question. Do queer people of color suffer differently than other ethnic backgrounds?
Yeah. What do you mean by like other ethnic backgrounds?
So, for example, I would think, and correct me if I'm wrong, someone who's Mexican, is it different for them, or someone who's Filipino, would it be different for them? Or?
I think so. I think definitely that the culture that you call your own has a really big impact on how you express your queerness and whether they want you to assimilate or whether you have to socialize with, like, for example, how she said that her girlfriend had to change when she got home. Like, I have that same experience because some days I like to present like more feminine and some days I like to present more masculine, like with my shirts, my bow ties, I look nice.
She does look nice.
But it would probably, maybe someone of like who's Filipino may not have to change when they go home, but maybe they will. Like your culture and your ethnic background does affect it, but I don't think that we suffer differently on like, I guess what I'm trying to say, like on vertical planes. I think we all suffer.
That is very good. I like that.
Like she said, I don't think you can measure anybody's oppression against anybody else's. We all are oppressed in some way, and I think for me to say my oppression as a gay black woman is worse than somebody else in this room, I don't think that's fair to be ordered it, because I don't know their life, they don't know my life, I don't know what they've been through. So
if the struggle is different, I would say it's different. Like I struggle as a queer person, then I struggle as a black person, not necessarily my struggles as a black queer is worse than a white queer. You know what I'm saying? Like I might struggle more because I'm black than a white person might struggle, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm struggling because I'm queer. Does that make sense? Like you can struggle.
Oh, you got a question? Go ahead.
I mean, my other question, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is a conversation I kind of had with Jeff already, but my question is that since African Americans are already marginalized, and then being of the LGBTQ community, you're being marginalized of an already marginalized community, I don't know, I don't think you can't answer at least the question in my mind, just how like, is there any type of difference that you're already black, and blacks, pay rates, where we get to live, we already have those struggles, but does that further because you are of the LGBTQ community?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like Ro was saying, like oppression is oppression. I mean, and that's not to generalize oppression. Oppression does not live within a hierarchy or anything like that. Like my oppression or like whatever. We get on. Okay, let me explain.
Like how they say black women are at the bottom. Like that is so wrong. Like no. Like okay, sorry. Sorry, you're good.
But I would say that because. And the whole idea of being a queer person of color is always living within that intersection of race, class, sexuality, and gender. You always have to be conscious of every single thing. I have to be conscious that I'm a black person at a predominantly white institution in a predominantly white society. I have to be conscious that I'm a queer person within a predominantly heteronormative society and a predominantly heteronormative campus. It's just that consciousness is always like they go hand in hand. Like my blackness goes in hand with my queerness vice versa. But yeah, I would say that it's not necessarily we suffer differently, but we suffer in a way that people still don't understand and people don't try to see because they just don't want to acknowledge it. The whole idea of like even being a queer person within the black community here on campus. I know that sometimes I don't feel comfortable going to an all-black event because I'm just like, I don't know, like I just don't feel safe. I mean, and safe in the terms of like I just don't like it's just all that aggressiveness sometimes around me, and I say that all black people, whatever. But I'm just saying like aggressive in the sense of like it's heteronormative, like around all this like hyper masculinity and stuff like that. I don't really feel comfortable around that because it's just like I don't fit in with that. I don't see myself aligned with that kind of identity at all. But the same goes for me going to like an all-white event or something like that. I'm not gonna feel comfortable there either because of my blackness. But I wouldn't say that we suffer differently, but we just suffer in a way that it's just not recognized.
Yeah, it's
as
not
visible.
noticed or acknowledged.
I don't know my black people.
You have a question?
Yeah, to kind of go off of what Jeff was saying, do you feel like you have more conflict in your own racial group than any other racial group? Like, do you feel like you catch more flack from like black people and the people that you know rather than any other group?
Definitely. I know you can speak to this, but I know that.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like I was just giving an example of just like being, and I mean, I don't mean to be offensive to anybody. Even just like going to a probate, like I don't really feel comfortable with any of those things. I mean, I've been at several, but still, just being around all that like aggressive hyper masculinity, like I just can't be bothered with it. It's just not a place where I feel comfortable. It's not a place where I feel like I'm really embraced or welcome. I know like people they're like, oh hey, what's up, Jeff, or whatever, but it's just like I'm not really cool with that. Like it's just too much. Like it's just, and I just become more aware. Like even if like we have a friend named Hassan, and like he was here last year. He went to Dustbrook and he on like these really short jean shorts, and he likes to wear black.
He looks really good though.
Yeah, he does. But at the same time, I mean, he does. He's like, well, fuck everybody. I don't give a fuck. I can wear what the fuck I want to. I'm like, okay. But, you know, we just still have to be aware of, like, and I'm just saying this in the terms of, like, even though we know, like, we're not going to let nobody bother him or whatever else it is, even if I want to wear something like that or whatever, I'm not going to let anybody mess with me. But at the same time, like, you still have to understand we live in a society where that is not always safe, where that is where people are getting killed in the street and not even cared for. Like, there was
transphobic violence.
Trans people who live within different gender identities, they suffer all kind of violence that just does not go acknowledged by the justice system here at all. Like, they get raped, they get thrown in rivers and ditches, and nobody cares. And like, there's even been cases where paramedics have even laughed at a trans person because, like, oh, well, why are you dressed like a woman, but then you have male genitalia? Like, they won't even help them. So that's a whole nother layer of just like violence and stuff like that just doesn't go acknowledged. So
So how do y'all feel about in the Beijing Olympics? I'm a sociology minor. So
with the track runner?
Yeah, like how do y'all, for people who don't know.
The Jamaican woman?
Yeah, it was the Jamaican woman who is actually intersex. That's the word that's going down. It used to be hermaphrodite. And in her village, like, she was raised as a woman, but she was very, very masculine. In the Olympics, they let her register as a woman, but she won, like, all these medals. And once she won, the women in the Olympics was like, nah, take them back. She's too masculine, and she got to go as a man. So now they're trying to strip everything. So I want to see how, like, y'all maybe feel about that.
At first, I was like, you know, wait, so I forgot, like, the final, like, verdict. Was it just, like, you know, she did have, like, some male genitalia?
They cut it off when she was a child, so they raised her as when she had both.
Oh, okay. So it was ambiguous?
Yeah.
Okay, well, at first when I like heard about it, I didn't know, like, what to think, because I was just like, well, to begin with, like, you shouldn't, like, you know, cut off, like, anything. Like, if your child is born into, like, the world like that, like, that is just, like, so wrong, because you don't even know, like what they're gonna identify as, like, when they actually, like, come into themselves and, like, find themselves. Like, that's just, like, so, like, messed up. And, like, you know, it's kind of like my own, like, thing. Like, I'm influenced by this patriarchal white institution that we live in, and, like, you know, like, I was just like, oh, well, like, I don't, like, there's something, like, a little off, but then I was just like, I had to check myself, and I was just like, well, like, you know, like, that should be okay. You know, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
like, that should be okay.
People really should take at least one women and gender study class, so then a lot of these terms that are getting thrown around, you'll be like, oh, okay, this is what they mean. Because like Marcus said, there are a lot of people we don't know that are born with both genitals, or, you know, have a certain level of testosterone or, you know, the estrogen. And they, you know, get deemed as a female as a child, and those are the people that end up coming out later and getting these gender changes, and people are like, they're sick, they're wrong, or you're supposed to be, you know, a man or a woman or whatever the case may be, when actually at birth they should have been deemed the other sex. And that's the problem in biology that's going on right now, is about, you know, doctors, you know, naming these babies female or male, when in actuality they come out later in life and become transgender, and then people are harping on them like they have mental problems or all this other stuff, when actually at birth they should have been, like Jeff said, deemed intersex. Like, there are people out there like that. So I think that was wrong. They shouldn't have took her medals around. And that's the thing about education. It's out there for us to educate ourselves.
Oh, I had a comment one time. I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like you were saying about Hassan. I had a friend, Jazz. He came up here during his spring break, and he's from Warrensburg. Well, he goes to school down in Warrensburg. And I know, like, being down there with him, seeing how everybody reacted with him, like, he's, you know, he's out, he's proud, and everybody's comfortable with him. And then he came here, I guess, because it's not that many people who are, you know, as out or as proud, or they're within their own community, not in the black community as much. And it just seemed like some people accepted him, and some people were like, well, I don't know if I should accept him. And I thought that, like, it was very interesting how people were afraid to accept him. It's like, why are you afraid? Like, if you touch him, you're not going to become automatically gay, kind of thing.
That's just the fear and stuff that society places on people who live outside the heteronormativity that's placed on society.
And it kind of stings, because it's like, I just think it's so stupid. Like, people are so stupid sometimes. Like, and that's like, that sounds negative, but like, it's true. Like, some people are so stupid. I don't know what to do about it. Like, well, I do. Like, I'll do something. But
Well, I want to move on to the next question. Are blacks that are homophobic hypocrites? Do you feel that?
What do you mean by hypocrite? Like, what do you mean?
Do we think black people are homophobic hypocrites, or
Yeah.
what do we think about black
some
people?
the black people that are homophobic, do you think that they are hypocritical?
Yeah.
Like how dare they hit on someone else when they're minorities also?
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like if you're for equality and you're for, you know, fighting for the struggle, you need to fight for everybody's struggles. I'm one of these.
That's what I'm saying.
If
Like
one person's
feminism,
struggling,
yes.
like Marcus said, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm a feminist. At the end of the day, we all have a struggle, whether it be, you know, our personal, family struggles, financial struggles, relationship struggles, educational, whatever it may be. And feminism, though people don't really realize, it's just equality for all. Equality for all people.
Right.
So, I mean, black people, I could think in a sense, I have friends that I think, you know, I have parents or, you know, older adults in my family that think that being, you know, gay is wrong, and then they'll turn around and be like, how can you compare the gay rights movement to the civil rights movement? It's not the same. And in that margin, I agree. It's not, but then it is. Yeah, it's in the sense.
I'm saying
no.
that the civil rights leaders did also fight for.
Yeah.
Well, what I said to my aunt when she said that to me, I was saying that like, well, Audre Lorde had said, our differences have been misused and misnamed in the service of separation and confusion, something like that. And it's like, differences are differences, like, and it's all like what you said is like all on the same level, you know?
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, if we're talking about like the gay rights movement compared to the civil rights movement, a lot of people like to say, well, it's gay rights the new black, it's the new black civil rights movement. And it's not the same because it's just it all revolves back to around the idea of intersection. Like it's not the same. Like me fighting for racial equality is not the same as me fighting for queer equality. Because I mean, I feel like we still have to fight for racial equality. You know, white people still benefit largely from like white privilege, and they have access to better jobs, education, healthcare, and all that stuff that as me as a black person, I don't have. But I want to get into this idea of like this question of are blacks or homophobic hypocrites. I think people have this idea too, and even though the name of this forum is homophobia in the black community, people like to say that black people are more homophobic than the rest of the world or rest of society. That's just not true. The world is homophobic. Like black people are not inherent, even though we may experience it on a more intense level where I can't speak for everybody. But at the same time, like that's not, like, don't believe that. When people say, especially people outside of your racial identity, say like, black people are just so messed up. I don't understand why they're so homophobic. Like, the world is homophobic.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, I think that it's not fair to say that because I'm a minority, I now must, what am I trying to say? Okay, so I hate when people say, like, me being queer messes up the black community already. Like, black people have enough problems already. You being queer on top of it isn't helpful. And so in the reverse respect, I don't think it's fair for heterosexual black people to have to feel forced that, oh, since I'm a minority, I must accept and love all people. Of course, I want you to, but I don't think it's fair to place that burden necessarily, because it's not fair for you to place it on me. Like, it's not fair for you to place all of the black people's problems on me. Like, oh, well, it's my fault because I'm queer, I'm making it worse. That seems like
I think with me speaking from my personal experience, like, I didn't get exposed to, like, gay or queer until I was, like, 12, and my cousin was. And I didn't understand, like, what that meant. I just knew that she was, like, different. And so, being raised as a Baptist Christian is a little bit difficult because the only thing I see are male and female heterosexual relationships. And so, like, that's the reason why I'm here today, to understand and to get that perspective, because I never really had, like, that voice. I just saw it. And, like, coming to college, like, I remember one day, it was like coming out week or something like that, and I was a freshman, and people that, like, I had friends who were gay, and they're like, oh, you should come, and I was kind of like,
I don't want to
know, because I was afraid, because I didn't know what that meant. And she was like, well, you don't support me, and then I was like, it's not that I don't support you, it's that I don't understand, and I need to understand. And my placement, I wasn't raised like that, I just need more exposure to understand, like, what that means. And I think that it wasn't really cool for her to, like, push me off, because it wasn't that I wasn't supporting her. I also agree that everyone should have equal rights. It's just that that was something new to me still. And like me coming here today, you guys' voices is really exposing me and making me understand more. Like, understand I'm 20, but I don't understand everything that goes around me. But just to say, like, it's not about us being like hypocrites, but sometimes we feel we don't understand.
And that's it. It's just ignorance and helping understand it. So like back to what Ocean and Marcus said, come with everything with compassion and love. Like if you meet somebody who has a bad taste in their mouth from a previous person, it's your job and your responsibility if you are identifying as queer or as a feminist or anyone who's trying to fight for equality to break that barrier and understand we're all human. That's the first thing. You know what I'm saying? We all bleed blood, we all piss yellow, you know, all that good stuff. At the end of the day, we're human. We're all human.
Like racial inequality is like a big thing too. Like people like think that like, you know, we're not a part of the same like human species. Like, you know, race is just like so socially constructed. Like you don't even know that it's like, you know, sometimes it has like a little bit of biological, well, I believe, like other people can believe different things. I think that it has like biological influences. Everything like comes from Africa, but like I think that like you know, like a black person, like a black woman can have more genetic similarities to like a white man.
Oh yeah, no.
With like long, like I don't know, whatever, like.
I have more of a chance, basically what he's saying, I have more of a chance of having the same genetic makeup as this young lady right here than I do any other African American person in the room. And that's what, race has no biological standing. That's something that was socially constructed, and that's something that we have to work on in the community as far as equality too.
She had a question. Your question?
Yeah. As far as this question goes, some of the things that you guys said, I'm actually in a women and gender studies class right now, and in one of the books there was a man, an Asian man who was part of the queer community, had written about what it's like to be both a minority and queer in that kind of community. And he was talking, pretty much said, like, in the name of conforming and socialization, he said that he's noticed that more minorities are homophobic and more people from the LGBT community are racist. And I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that. Like coming from a minority man who is queer.
He said that minorities within the LGBT community are racist.
No, he said usually minorities are more homophobic, and then people in the LGBT community are more racist. In the name of like conforming and socialization.
So did they like kind of like not really like talk about white people?
No, I mean he was talking about from his perspective what he's realized being gay and being.
I mean,
yeah. Okay, I guess those
are just be talking about like the majority of people. I guess the majority of people that represent the face of the LGBT community are. I mean, like I said, it just goes back to saying like it's white people.
Yeah,
you see it.
no, it's
I mean,
true.
It's true because
it's true.
I mean, even as a queer man of color, like I can tell you just like some experiences that I like dealing with like white queer men and stuff like that. They approach you in kind of different ways. And I don't want to be explicit with it, but they will say like some of the most fucked up shit to you. Like,
because they feel like they're a minority too, so they already have. Oh, I identify with you.
Yeah, and it's not that, but like even with that, but like they will like hypersexualize you because they have this idea of you as a black person, like oh you're gonna do this and that to me. Like I even had a friend like even said like this white man who said something really like sexually explicit. I don't want to repeat it because it's like
was it what you posted on
no.
It kind of goes back to how I was saying a lot of people as a minority feel like adding another issue on top of that makes it worse. And so if you're already in a minority, you're fearful of having any other outside factors on top of that. So if I'm black, I have fears of any other gay, black, or queer black person being in the community because that's more trouble. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm in the LGBTQ community, I have fear of, you know, any other minority, as black people, as Asian people coming in, because that just complicates it more than it needs to be. The queer people have a struggle already. Black people have a struggle already. The other coming in makes it worse. It compounds it. Therefore, I think that might be why you have more people that are racist in the queer community.
She has a question.
Do you think that there's like any of all this ignorance and kind of backlash that we get from the whole black community, do you think that has anything to do with like it seems, okay, I guess it'd be, if I just give an example. It seems like, teaching, we don't really raise our children and we don't really expose them to it as much as other cultures may expose their children to homosexuality or like the LGBTQ community. So I think that when a lot of us grew up and started seeing a bunch of these hypersexualized like images, you know, especially, my whole point is especially like about the whole lesbian thing, because I have friends who will not talk to a gay guy, but they find out that I'm dating a girl and it's like, oh, okay, what's up? Like, no, like, do you think that our upbringing, or do you think that our, like, raising, I guess I can't really pose the question the way I want to, but I feel like there's something really hypocritical about you want to shun one part of this community, but you're still kind of shunning the other part, but you think it's okay because you think it's something that you can be attracted to.
Like, I think you're talking about
it's the whole exotic.
Yeah, the whole like lesbians
women make out, but
right,
it's not supposed to men make out type of thing.
Right, or like we can't. My relationship can't be taken seriously because I'm dating a female.
And I think that has to do with us living in a patriarchal society. That's the main thing about it. Yeah, because I know me and my girlfriend talk about that all the time. Like, people find out, oh, you're gay? Oh, okay, so what's your girlfriend look like? Does she want to come with us? And it's not that type of party, homeboy. Don't get down like that.
Struby's from the LGBT Center. She kind of explained the drop to an ocean type of thing, where it takes only one drop of a man doing something with another man before he's gay, he's off limits, no need to look at anything else, he rubbed too close to that man, I'm done. No. But for a woman to be taken seriously or to even be accused, she has to make out with numerous women. I can't just tell you, oh, well, I like women and I only dated one girl. No, that's not serious. You gotta date a whole bunch of them before it gets serious. And until you do that, I'm gonna just assume you're in a phase and you're fun to mess with. You know what I mean? So I think that's the type of mindset people have a lot of the time. Like, it's cool for girls to be messing around with girls because they're not really gay. They're just having fun. Like, they don't take it serious versus with a guy. All they have to do is look at another guy wrong and it's like, oh, snap, home, you're gay. I don't know. Crazy phenomenon.
Go ahead.
I just think a lot of that goes back to how, like, the way we grew up and everything, too, and, like, social constructs in our society as well. Just, like, females can be, like, tomboys growing up. But if a boy decided to put on a skirt, like, that would be a real-life problem. Like,
so it privileges masculinity.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately.
Yeah, like, the gender roles are just so much stricter for guys than they are for females in general. And so I think that's where a lot of that stems from, too.
And even if you go, I remember people were talking about Brittany Griner on Twitter, and you know, would you hit Brittany Griner for this amount of money? And it's like she's, first of all, she's extremely disrespectful.
That's
she's
extremely disrespectful.
And two, like, just because she decides to be more masculine, now all of a sudden it's this whole different, like this mind. When she dresses as a masculine,
She came out.
So I'm gonna move on from that to how to be an ally. One of the questions with that one is, what does it mean to be an ally to the LGBTQ community?
Okay. So,
Sequoia,
yay! Go ahead, Sequoia. She's been so quiet. So.
I think being an ally is so much more than just stopping by the center and grabbing a button and being like, "Ooh, gay pride." Like it's so much more than that. It's you need to be open-minded. You have to have like this desire to truly like care for the people who are in this community. You can't just say no hate, marriage equality for everybody. Like you have to work towards it, and you also need to be open to the fact that it's not just a community of just gay, just queer, just lesbian people. Like there's transgender people, there's people who are intersex, there's people who are gender non-conforming. Like there's all these elements, and you need to be open to that to be an ally.
So the next question I want to ask is, what is the importance of being an ally?
Because you would want somebody to support you. Say anybody in this room, you're trying to get a job, and for some odd reason, regardless of your person you're dating is a man or woman, you don't get the job because of the person that you're dating, or you know what you identify as. You would want somebody to come and strike and march with you, like, okay, so-and-so needs this paycheck. This isn't fair. Who she dates is none of your business. As long as she's doing her job adequately and up to standards, that's all that matters. that's why it's important to be an ally, because you gotta put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, if it was you, how would you want to be treated? It goes back to that simple rule. Treat yourself, treat others how you would want to be treated, and give people the respect that you would want as an individual.
The golden rule.
Yeah, it really is. And like, if you genuinely care about people, you would support them. So anyone in here that calls themselves my friend, if you support me as a person, you support me being a heteronormative female. I love women, I love men, I love everybody. You support that person and what they stand for, and you back them all the way. Like Soraya said, don't be wishy-washy, don't half-ass it. Say you got a button and say, oh yeah, I'm an ally, I did it. And then when you hear somebody making crude and lewd comments, not saying anything, well, standing there with your button on, but you still not saying nothing about it. That's not being an ally. You might as well take that button off and throw it in the trash.
Like talking about people on Twitter, and you see like
And retweeting ignorant stuff, like Ashley just talked about, like, that's not being an ally. Don't borderline defense, be on one side.
I mean, it's hard being an ally, I would say, because I mean, a lot of times people assume, like, you know, the birds of a feather flock together type of thing. Like, oh, you're an ally, eh? But you're always with the queer people. Sure. So now you kind of got that judgment thing happening. So I mean, it's hard being an ally. So I would assume.
But life is hard. Life's hard. It's hard being gay. So join the club.
What is the importance of listening to someone in the LGBTQ population?
I think the importance of, and I'm gonna, because I want to touch on all these questions here. And just talking about, and then I think it was great that we're talking about allies and stuff like that, but we also have to talk about the problematic stuff that allies can do too. When it comes to like how we were just saying, like you have to do more than just wear a button. I had to try to get somebody together on Twitter and tell them like that's not being like you have to tell them, because allies like to do this thing where they still like to, and not saying that all, but and it's just straight people in general, they still like to do this thing where they try to police how you should be gay and how you should do. Like when people say another, like going back to the first thing, proper terminology, when you tell somebody or you say, well, you just need to come out the closet, that is wrong. You don't tell anybody that, because first of all, if you are not within this community, even if you're in this community too, I don't think that you should tell somebody that they just need to come out. But it's coming out, it's such a difficult process, and it has to be it's a very personal process as well. But if you do not identify within the queer community and you say to somebody, well, you just need to come out the closet, first of all, you're being homophobic, because you are oppressing me with your heterosexual privilege by telling me how I should be and how I should identify and how open I should be. I don't have to explain anything to anybody. It's my life. I don't owe you an explanation about who I am and what I do. Just like even if I identify as queer and I love both sexes, if I want to be with a boy this day or a woman the next, it doesn't matter. Like I don't need to explain it to you. But with allies, the thing is, the importance of listening is just sitting down and listening to what I have to say, without telling me like, well, I just think that you should do this, or I think that you should live this way. No, like listen to me. Like it goes the same way for if you are outside of the black community and you have a comment about like, well, black people just need to do this or whatever else, and you don't identify as black, you need to be quiet. Like you don't have a stance or a say to tell us how we should fix our problems or how we should work to do, identify them or whatever. I'm a firm believer in queer problems need to be fixed by queer people, black problems need to be fixed by black people. So you know if you call yourself an ally, make sure that you're not oppressing me with your straight privilege either, because that's a very real thing that people do when they say that I'm an ally, because they still want to tell you, oh, you know, well, I think that you should be this kind of way, or, you know, I know a lot of things, like a lot of stereotypes of like gay men, it's just like, oh, we all know about fashion and all that stuff, like, oh, take me shopping or whatever, like, I mean, shit, sometimes, can I just chill and watch a movie or whatever, like, why I always gotta go shopping with you, like, and I mean, it's cool, but I'm just saying, like, it's just like, you still have these misconceptions and these notions that we're all the same kind of people, and I guess we'll get into the idea of like lifestyle later, because
well, like when I was in high school, everyone, I've always known that I was like different, and like I've always had like my interests, and like my mom was always like, you know, like what teenage boy looks at America's Next Top Model, and like all of that, you know, and so then I'm listening. Well, so then I mean, I'm just saying that everyone just thought that I was like a gay boy, gay guy, or whatever, like my whole life, and like I didn't really get it until like when it was like starting to get kind of bad, was like in 8th grade, and then like I think I liked what you were saying, because you were saying that like it's like you're imposing your straight privilege or whatever type of privilege you think you have over me, like, you're imposing that type of privilege over me, like, and saying, oh, that's who you are, and I didn't come out that way, like, that's not how I came out, like, I came out this past summer and I identified as trans, like, and that's what I felt comfortable with identifying as, you know, and like everything, like, happens for a reason, and, like, you know, like, it's all natural, you know, like, ultimately.
So just bring it back to the question, I think it's important to listen, because sometimes, like, personally, no one's really asked me any questions about my life. How you doing, Ocean? How's your struggles? How did that shit feel in high school? Because let me tell you, it's not good. So it feels good to just have someone ask, knowing that they're asking with intention to listen. And that's with anybody's problems, you know what I'm saying? If you just have a genuine care, I'm like, oh, that was a shock. Like, I go in my life expecting no one to ask me questions. No one's about to sit down and, how you doing? How was this struggle, you know, or obstacles and da-da-da-da. So one, it just shows that you care, and everybody needs that person to know that they care, because that stops you from harming yourself, harming somebody else, harming anything, from having negative thoughts. Because you just, even if you don't know that person, like that's your best friend, you have that one person who's just like, hey, ask me how that struggle was, and that's what's up.
So I think,
did you have?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, she was first, and then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I wanted to reiterate what Jeff said about being an ally and listening. And it's also, even if you have a speculation of someone being gay, or someone has told you that they're gay, they might not be out to everyone, and it's important not to out them. Like if Susie Day down in Women's Center, coordinator of Women's Center, she told me her story about how when she was here as an undergrad, and everybody, she told people like in her sorority knew that she was gay, but then one day somebody like literally screamed across the room about her being gay, and she wasn't out. And it's like, it's important for them to come out on their own, and not for you to bring them out the closet, I guess. Yeah. And even now, people speculate certain people, even the black community or whatever, that are gay. Let them come out. Let them have their process, their story. Don't tell it for them, I guess.
And another thing about the whole coming out, some people don't like that whole phrase together. Like, I'm one of the people, some people feel like, I didn't have no classes to come out to, this is how I came out the womb. Like, I don't know where that whole phrase started. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Not everybody agrees with that term, or,
Say, come out is a process. I mean, you got to come out, people have to come out to themselves, and realize that they're gay, and come to terms with the life that they're going to be living. And then they have to come out to the people that are important to their lives. And then they might not want to take it any further from that. They might just want that close group of people to know they're a secret, and everybody else, the world, is just, I'm Brandon, or whatever.
Real quick, go to Paul real quick.
I just kind of want to ask, because you mentioned earlier that at like probates and stuff like that, you don't feel comfortable. I guess
that
what
was
can we
very
do?
interesting what you were saying.
Okay, well, what were you saying?
What can we do to make that a better experience, or what are we doing now to make it an even worse experience?
Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
I love you.
Oh, no problem.
Y'all, if y'all don't support the Sigmas, please support the Sigmas. They are good men. Like, no other fraternity or black Greek fraternity on this campus has did any type of event like this, and it's really a problem that needs to be faced here, because people still coming into Mizzou that want to be Greek and can't just because of their sexuality, and they can contribute wonders to organizations. But having events like this, y'all, this is the first step. Y'all see, they won an award for this event that they had last year, by the way. So commend them, kudos on that. But doing things like this, Jeff,
because it makes you feel inclusive.
I mean, I don't know, because I'm not a part of Greek life. I work there.
I mean, just even what he was saying, I think it was even more like the hyper masculinity thing. Could you more touch on that? Like, what are you saying when you say
like
that?
I said, I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but I just know, like, for example, like some of the chants that I may hear or something like that may have like, for example, like I think I've heard like "gay fi gay" before or something like that, or "they too sweet for me" or whatever else. Like it's just like
how
but I understand. Like I guess it's like a show. I mean, I guess it probably is a show, right? But it's still offensive because it's like, to me, it's just like you're just exercising your masculinity. Like I mean, and I think it's silly, but at the same time, that's what you all do. That's what you like to do. I mean, that's y'all. But I'm just saying, I don't feel comfortable around that. I think, like, if you're saying that kind of stuff, so clearly I'm not welcome there.
Wait, saying
I'm
stuff like what?
Like, just saying, like, oh, well, they too sweet for me or whatever else. It's just like, even like, if it's like, being like, I don't even want to, like, sexist towards
I guess,
women.
yeah, or
Like,
using,
even
like,
just,
use me and Ocean as
we
an
get
example.
them girls or whatever, like whatever. I don't know what
Yeah.
y'all say. Sorry, but I'm just saying like but it's just like that makes me so uncomfortable because first of all,
That's
like
not
that language is like it's so violent to me because it's like, well, hell, I could be punched in the face by you all anytime. Like, I don't know, like I could be. I don't know how to feel. Like, I mean, clearly, if you say those kind of things, I'm clearly not welcome because of my sexual identity and my queerness. Why would I go? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm not gonna go somewhere I don't feel comfortable and not welcome. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with him. Like, I guess an example of what he's trying to say. Okay, me and Ocean are both in some of the Black Youth sororities on campus. Everybody knows. So it's just like if her sorority was to call B in my sorority. Oh, the Zetas are they're the gay sorority because I'm in the sorority.
Yeah.
That's what frats do to other frats. Like, oh, they're sweet or they're gay because they're not us. So like you said, it's a competition type thing, but it makes people feel uncomfortable because they're, unbeknownst to anybody in the organization, there are gay people that come to the probates and watch the probates or pay money to go to your parties or come to your forums, and then they hear things like that and it's like, okay, hold up, I don't agree with that. That's that, I'm not of that lifestyle. It's offensive. You know what I'm saying?
And I think the whole issue around this too is even with the first questions that we had, terminology. You have to understand the power of language. Like people don't understand the power that language has and what that implies. And when I say like it's violent, like it just seems like that's just something that's very like aggressive, very like it's
dark.
Yeah, like it just seems like I'm not gonna like. And I mean, I may be exaggerating, saying I can be punched in the face, but I'm just saying like it's still like that kind of stuff implies to me that is like not welcoming to me out of the norm. So what?
I would say like I think
that's what I'm saying. That was so interesting.
Yeah, you don't think about it when you're saying it, but
and they're doing their little disses and it's like F yo frat, y'all gay as fuck. I don't know why I just listened to myself.
Okay, I had to check somebody in my dorm room. Okay, because they were like a group of like white people outside. Like right. Well, it doesn't matter. Like I love white people. I was socialized with white people. We know. But like they were just like like oh like that's so gay like and they're just being loud. I was just trying to study. Okay. So then I had to go out in the hallway and I had to be like. Okay, first, I was like nervous. I was like, I was like, first off, like I'm trying to study, like, and then I had to tell them like, and then like you do not say gay because like there are so many other things you can say like, gay is like you're using gay as a synonym for stupid and like that is not like appropriate. Like that is like not like
and at the same time like if we're talking about probates too, I think that and like when I analyze that kind of stuff, I think it's like to jeer or like point out somebody else's like masculinity or lack thereof.
Yeah,
but I mean, I just think that it just revolves back around to patriarchy and how men are socialized to believe that we always have to police each other and make sure that we are always being men because if we are not being men, then we are not essentially men. I guess I'm repeating myself. Whatever. But I'm just saying like that's just how men are socialized to believe that if you are not always displaying your masculinity, then you are problematic.
So to move
that
on.
is so weird.
Oh, you had a question?
I understand what you're saying about how you would feel that your masculinity is being challenged, but I wouldn't necessarily just throw it all on Greeks because my mom does it to me. She would say, you need to man up, or you act like one of them, bags or something.
Well, yeah, no, it's not a Greek thing. It's a social.
Yeah,
thing.
that's all I was saying.
Like I was just saying, like men are socialized to always display masculinity and a sense of maleness. Because if you don't do that and you are outside of that, then you're a problem.
She had a question.
I was gonna say, I think the problem with the Greek community is that a lot of people come here and they look to the Greek community for guidance and like leadership with the leaders on campus. But if you don't discuss topics that are relevant in the community, then people aren't gonna care about them. Like this discussion about homophobia, like this is a taboo topic in the Black community. You can see by the turnout here, like no one's here. Where's everybody at? Exactly. Everyone's at their social event, and no one really cares about these issues. So I think that.
Is that where all they left?
I don't know.
Probably.
Go ahead.
So I think that being a member of a Greek fraternity or sorority, it's your responsibility to put these issues on the forefront, and I commend you guys for that. But it's your responsibility to put all issues that are relevant in the community on the forefront, and not just specific ones that'll get a turnout.
And then, we're going to go to bowling, and then we're going to go on to the next topic real quick. We get your question after.
I mean, I just kind of wanted to say that, for example, for homecoming and stuff like that, we kind of like moderate our language and stuff like that because, you know, there's kids and stuff. So I guess if we can moderate the disses that we do at events like programs to make certain individuals in our community feel more comfortable, and that's something that we need to exercise and think about and actually put into action. So I just want to apologize on behalf of all, I guess, NPACOs that have made you guys feel uncomfortable at some point.
I mean, and that's just all goes back to this, the power that you give language. Like you, I mean, if you can, like you said, if you all can do it for kids, then you can do it for everybody. You don't never know who's sitting in the audience who may potentially see something great in you all and can add something. But if you're saying something like, "Whoa, I'm not gonna try to fuck with you all like that." So, but it's like that's real.
Well, moving on to the next one, living the identity. We talked a lot about, you know, doing active listening. That's a social work term. Let me put that back. Active listening is intentional listening. That's what I mean. But now we're going to move on to talking about living the identity. What does it mean to live a LGBTQ identity and not a lifestyle? So
okay, before we, I want to ask somebody. So when you hear the term gay lifestyle or LGBT lifestyle, what does that mean? Like, I want to hear it from the audience. Can anybody like give me a solid definition of what a gay lifestyle is? Go ahead, John.
Like a lot of random hookups, drugs. That's the way I guess it's been interpreted for me, like talking to people from the outside in. Like I say, you know, like gay relationships don't last because they're always having sex with a lot of different people. They're doing a lot of, you know, exotic drugs like coke and heroin, stuff like that.
So now the hands raised. Now, I'm trying to do it in order. I'll let my friend go first. Then I'm gonna let you go second.
I'm sorry. I'm not
trying to do.
But I'll just say from my perspective, like being a Christian, when, you know, as Christians we're told that we're supposed to live a Christian lifestyle, which is to be Christ-like and do things like Jesus Christ did. So when I hear gay lifestyle, it makes me think like people who identify with LGBTQ are supposed to do what those stereotypes of what society tells them, or like
self-perpetuating.
So I think that's where part of it comes from, because we have this idea, at least what I've seen and people I know, is that as a gay man is supposed to come up to every man he sees and touch them and do all that other type of stuff. So when you say gay lifestyle, that's personally what I think about, is like the lifestyle that society portrays as supposed to be gay.
You third. Okay, she said.
When I think of LGBTQ, I do identity first. When I think of that identity, I think of somebody being true to themselves. Can live how they want to, identify with themselves, be open with themselves, and know this is who I am, and living a lifestyle, just be in a relationship with who they want to, interacting with who they want to, and
okay, now you.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of people place these stigmas on identity. So it's like, you could be a lesbian, but you're gonna be like masculine lesbian, and that has to happen that way. You can't be like you can't identify as someone who likes girls and who likes boys. You can't be in between. And there's just like all these stigmas that, I don't know, I never really thought about this question because I didn't think queer people live a different lifestyle.
That's what I was just about to say. I don't know about this. I just don't know how to answer it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think there should be a correlation between how you identify in your lifestyle. Like, what's LGBTQ lifestyle? I mean, everyone, you just live. Like,
you have your own life.
Everyone just lives, so you have your own life.
Now you.
I can tell you when I was growing up that I thought it was just a lot of confusion, because that's how I was kind of brought up. Like, you know, gay people are confused, or they don't really know what they want, or they're not listening to, you know, what God is telling them, and they're going off the path and all this stuff. But when I told my parents who I was dating, there was this whole, we don't accept that lifestyle. And for me, it was like, there is no lifestyle change, because I'm still the same person. I'm not doing anything different. I'm still going to school and organizations, like doing all the things I want to do. I'm just dating somebody different. So I don't really think, I think it's hard to define, because there's nothing really, I mean, there is something to define, like your involvement-wise, and I guess your actions, what you do, but really it's all kind of, we do the same thing.
I kind of feel like lifestyle has this connotation that it's a choice. Like, you chose to live that lifestyle. I feel like identity is who you are. That's who everybody is. Because there's like, I mean, if you put it in terms of like, I choose to live a healthy lifestyle. That's what you choose. I feel like in the LGBTQ, it's just like anybody else. You don't choose to be who you are. You just are who you are, and that's your identity. So I feel like lifestyle just kind of has a connotation of that's you woke up one day and you chose like this is who I am.
That's
perfect.
As far as like lifestyle goes, I feel like a lot of people have an issue if they know like one queer person, then they assimilate like everybody else who's queer with that person. In high school, we had a guy who quote unquote came out, and when he turned 16 started going to gay clubs, and he would post pictures of himself from like Friday, Saturday nights, dressing up, you know, like putting makeup on, dressing as Kesha and stuff like that, and getting really, really done up and everything. And people from my high school started viewing that as how all gay people, quote unquote, would go out on the weekends, or how they dressed or what they did. So like just from that one person from my one high school, that I feel like all those people from my high school now, like that's what they correlate with a queer lifestyle.
Now back to you.
I mean, would you, because like, if you think of like you were just saying, what's your name?
Jasmine.
Jasmine, you did it perfectly. How you said it implies a choice, because when you say lifestyle, if you think of the word lifestyle like sedentary lifestyle or unhealthy lifestyle, that's what you choose to live. All queer people don't live the same life. Like, I don't like the term, to me, the term lifestyle is homophobic within itself, because you're implying, like I said, that I had a choice in the matter, which I don't believe I don't. Some people may, whatever. But at the same time, like, you're insulting my identity. Like, you're insulting an essential part of me by saying, like, oh, you must live this way because this is who you tell me who you are, but you don't know me. So it's like, when you say lifestyle, you're not allowing, bless you, you're not allowing people to express themselves in a way that they may not, that, you know, without your stereotypes being placed upon them. I don't live the same way that Marcus does. I don't live the same way Sequoia does. Even though we're in a college setting, we still, you know, come from different backgrounds, may have different beliefs or whatever else. Because it's like, you don't never impose this people on straight people. Do straight people have a lifestyle? No. So, all queer people don't live the same life. We have an identity. Like, I am who I am, and you should respect that. So, don't say lifestyle. Identity is a better term.
Yeah, I have a problem with identity just because the very first time I actually dated a girl was in high school, and so a lot of people felt like I was switching into something different. Like, oh, well, you suddenly came into it. So I feel like for people who maybe didn't always feel like they were different since they were little, this could be something that, you know, I finally grew into in high school, but that doesn't mean that I just I'm BSing and I decided to do this because it was a fun thing to do in high school. That doesn't, like, when I decide to act upon what my identity is, doesn't change my identity. And I think that I caught a lot of flack for that because they don't take it serious. Oh, well, you weren't, you know, dating girls when you were little, you weren't doing this, that, and the other when you were little. Actually, I wasn't doing anything when I was little, boy or girl wise, you know. So how can you, like, I don't know, I just caught a lot of flack for it because they felt like, well, you didn't do anything with a girl until high school, and a lot of people want to know, well, how much did you do? Because that might not be qualifying as gay. You're not about having sex. If not, then y'all are like, well, who asks that type of stuff? You don't ask people who are straight, oh, you having sex with your girlfriend? Y'all not really together. What type of crazy questions are that? So, like, how dare you insult my identity by trying to qualify it as, well, you must have done this, that, and the other. You must have dated her by this age, da-da-da-da. Like, it sounds crazy.
So, thank you for those comments. Because we're trying to move it along and everything. We're going to go to the next question. How has being a member of the LGBTQ population or community affected your relationship with your family, friends, and professional livelihoods?
Sequoia?
Okay. I guess I'll start with family. My queer identity has estranged me, has separated me from a lot of my family because a lot of them don't believe in it. They still see it as like this lifestyle, and it goes against what God says, and it's a sin, and it's all this and this and that. And they, like, from me saying that I'm queer, they see me as having switched. Like, I don't know where the switch came from. I don't know what, did my face change? I don't know. But they see it as me having, like, taken on something else, and so they don't see me as the same person. They don't want to associate with me and all these frivolous things. And it's like come to the point where I haven't told some members of my family because I don't want to lose that relationship. And when it comes to friends, a lot of my friends are more accepting, more so in college than back home, because I come from a really conservative state, a really conservative city, where it's like my friends there, they're like, yeah, you're queer, but let's not talk about it. Let's not say anything in public. We don't want to catch any flack. We don't want any of this. You might be confused, so let's not put it out there like that. Just keep it inside. And professionally, I think in the future that it will affect me getting a career, because especially with being with QPOC, it's like, can I put that on a resume? Is that going to stop me from getting a job? Because I said that I was a member of the College of Queer People of Color.
That is so true, because I recently last semester I tried to apply to some places downtown, and I didn't know if the fact that I put QPOC on there, I didn't get any responses, but because I think I'm a capable worker, I mean, that's what I think that's what you should focus on, not necessarily
You share your experiences. We're gonna go down the line.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, well, I don't even know, where do I start?
Just share one.
Oh, just one
big
thing?
One big
Family, friends, or
Talk
professional.
about
You just talk about
transition from college. We've seen you from, I remember the first Marcus I seen here at Mizzou, and what you've evolved into now. Talk about that. Is that something that,
Really?
Whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay, well, I think that, I don't know, I didn't really, I wasn't comfortable with my blackness or my queerness, and just coming here, I've always had I just love art, you know, I just always loved art, and so then I just think that ever since I came to school, I've always thought in this way that I didn't think anyone else would really understand, and I think that I kind of cloned it a little bit more, the way that I should think, but I don't know if it's gonna really hopefully it plays in my advantage, but I think that I have strong ambitions, and I have kind of revolutionary things that I want to do. I have these big visions and thoughts of what I want to do with my life, and I think that just recently I kind of started to realize, yeah, I actually can be capable of maybe doing this, and I guess just coming to college, I've been socialized in my black and queer community, you know, and you guys loved me, so it's just I was happy about that. So yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll go.
Yeah, is that good? Okay.
I don't know what's that.
Anyway. Sorry, guys.
It's fine.
He's a baby.
Yes. I personally, relationship with my family and my friends. Friends, it's been pretty cool. You know, I quote unquote came out when I was 17. I came out to my best friend. She took it well. She was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. What we doing this weekend? I said, whatever. Never to my mom. It was kind of hard at first. It's been a really rough passage with me and my mom. She has never really been blatantly homophobic or anything like that to me. It's shown me she's always someone that she's supporting me, even though she didn't really understand it. You know, she cried and she's like, well, what did I do? And I'm just like, nothing. It's me, from birth, whatever. And it's kind of one of those things too. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody's experience, but I guess when you're little, your family kind of already knows. Oh, you know, they may say something oh, you know, hey, well, I guess I got a little sugar in this thing or whatever, but it's fine. I mean, it's fine. It's just I guess people and I.
Wait, do you actually know what they've said? I always wonder that. I wonder
Just my family talk shit about me. Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. It's just that I don't know if you all ever heard this. People know that you're gay before you are. So that's kind of a thing. And my mom has always said she's always had to kind of go off on my aunts and stuff like that for saying stuff about me or whatever else like that. So I come out to my mom and she knows our relationship is pretty good too. She'll text me hey, did you meet a like, I'm doing the paper. So like, I do not have time. But like it's beautiful to have that kind of support system because like I'm very spiritual. I believe in God, so I thank God for my mom. Like that's a blessing to have her support or whatever else. And she just tells me all the time. She's like, hey, you grown. You tell people whatever you want to. Like I support you 100%. Like I have not formally come out to my family. I have not set them down at Thanksgiving or whatever and said like, hey, y'all know y'all eating, but haven't done that. Friends, I mean, like going back to friends, it's been pretty good. I mean, I did hit a rough patch with some of my friends in high school. Like we stopped talking for like months and months at a time. Like, and that was really hard because like she was really one of my close friends. So you know, LGBTQ people, you don't have to even be a queer person of color. You do have to face that scariness with like Sequoia was talking about like losing those relationships. And although like I have not formally come out to my family or whatever else, I mean, there's still that fear factor too, but lives there. Like I don't want to lose them because I love my family so much. But at the same time, I know that they're not really going to understand. I don't think that they would necessarily like shun me completely, but I know like they just wouldn't understand it. And I mean, I don't know. My family's like really shady and sarcastic or whatever. So like they may make a comment, so they may make me mad or whatever. But and it's like sometimes when I hear those things, I can't really say things. It's like, you know, it's frustrating, but it's cool. I just feel like I'm grown. Like I don't have to explain anything to anybody. I feel like this is my life. Like my mom was just telling me, hey, you just explain whenever you feel comfortable, whatever else, you do whatever. I'm not saying shit. I was like, okay, mama, cool. I'll talk to you later. But that's kind of how I am. But life is great. Life is beautiful. So.
Okay, I'll try to be fast, guys. My family. Everybody in my family is pretty cool. My mom is I love her to death. Ever since I came out my freshman year and had my first girlfriend, she's like, Alicia, I knew it's okay. You know, that's my road dog. My dad, we had a rough patch at first. Like, I'm a daddy's girl, so it hit him hard. No black man wants to find out that his daughter likes other females, you know, whatever. But he's cool now. He's met my girlfriends. He, you know, asks about it when he talks to me on the phone or whatever. He'll make jokes. I think him joking is a way for him to kind of like deal with it, you know, or whatever. So I accept that for what that is. My siblings, all my siblings are cool. I love them to death except for I have a brother in the state pen, and this hurt me, and this really recently, it just really hurt me. Because I'm one of the only siblings out of all of my siblings that writes him, goes to visit him, do anything. And after we just had a last visit with him in September, he wrote me a letter. He converted to Islam, as most people do when they, you know, go into the prison system. And he wrote me this long letter talking about, when are you going to give me some nieces and nephews? He knew what I was gay, but this isn't right. I want you to live a holy and righteous lifestyle. I'm a Baptist and I am a Christian, and I will say that proudly, and I will say that I do have a girlfriend. And if you want to talk to me about that and how that works later, you can. That's another thing. Church, I went to church ever since I was little. Sometimes by myself. My parents, they weren't average church goers, but I would go. I always have like a great aunt or somebody, cousin. And one day I was at church in the pew. My pastor actually called me out because the black community where I'm from is kind of small. It's not too small, but everybody knows everybody. And you know, they do call to the altar at the end. If anybody's having, you know, trouble with their life, financial troubles, relationship troubles, sexual issues. A man is supposed to be with a woman, and a woman is supposed to be with a man. So that was kind of my chaotic moment as far as my religion and my spiritual beliefs, because that took me away from the church for a long while until I was like a senior again. So that was something, but now I'm back, everything's good. Professionally, I haven't had that many troubles, and I actually like to say, I worked at BCC on campus, and both of my bosses, Nathan before he left, and Miss Velma, if you don't know her, meet her, she's the one for me, they marched with me in the Pride Parade. So that'll show you, Mizzou, I love this community because they are really making strides to have unity and make sure everybody's included. So, I mean, it's a give or take. Some people, you know, will be for you, some are against you, but I'm kind of like Jeff. I'm to the point where I'm grown. I'm 22 years old. If you love me and care about me, I'm not going to leave it up to me to explain to you about my life and my choices that I make. If you care, you're going to ask me, you're going to be genuinely interested. But, yeah, it's good and bad with it.
My family is interesting because most of my family doesn't know, just because it's kind of like on a need-to-know basis. I don't tell my family when I'm dating somebody, unless it's, oh, we're getting serious, let me introduce you to the family. So it's not like I'm ashamed of it. It's I'll introduce you to this girlfriend when this girlfriend becomes of relevance to, you know, long-term life. But my mom was one of those people, when I had my first girlfriend, was like, duh, like she told me, she was like, are you dating so-and-so? That was like the most awkward conversation. We were at the grocery store and she asked me, because I guess like my phone went off and I had left it. She's like, oh, so-and-so sent you a message. You dating her? whoa, because like, we were already best friends. We had known each other since 7th grade, but then it kind of went to another level of best friends. She was, well, can I spend the night more out there? Can we do? And it's like, you know, my mama ain't stupid. She knows about the life. I have 2 moms actually, but that's another different story. So I guess that's helpful as to why she is accepting. But yeah, that's the family thing. They something else. Friends during high school. Some of my friends during high school wasn't shit. To put it lightly, they were hella bogus. They straight tried to one of the dudes straight out of me in the middle of the freaking high school. He approached me I was in my locker and he throws me on the ground and starts shaking me on the ground. Why the F you dating this girl? Why da like a crazy person. So that was just the beginning of coonery at that point. From there it was friends that like both of us have been cool with. We were running in the same circles and they were all of a sudden, you know, I know y'all supposed to be coming to help with this church event that I'm having, but do y'all think y'all could not stay at the house this time? Every summer we would spend the night at this house before the church event, but now it's like a problem. Now is if you do come, can you make sure you don't have sex in my mama's house?
Right,
that's hella crazy. Like what? Or can you make like? And it was for her to come to me. Like this isn't some random girl, some random ignorance. This is my friend, my G, my best friend. She straight came to both of us and was like, "Is it possible that y'all could like not sleep near each other, or maybe go change in the bathroom?" Like, are you for real? That sounded crazy. And to this day, that whole little circle that we used to mess with, it's not the same because they always throwing shade her way because she's crazy. I don't know. Like, they always throwing shade her way though, and they do it in front of me like that's okay. And I'm like, you do know that that's my ex, and that's hella shady, and that's also our friend. Like, and they think it's okay around me because if I'm dating a guy at the time, then it's like, okay, we're cool as long as you don't mention it type shit. And I'm like, not about it. I think it's shady. I think it's ridiculous, and so I don't really mess with them anymore. But my other friends, they're kind of like, they don't talk about it. I don't know if they don't talk about it because they don't feel it's relevant or because they're uncomfortable about it, but I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'm going to do me.
I'm going to move on. Go ahead and give
a real quick question back, y'all. But I know you said that you didn't like the phrase coming down the closet. Like, what do you think would be a better like replacement for that?
I feel like it shouldn't write people's life. I think that's the problem with our society. We have to label every single thing, and we're all different people. We're different, and for someone to label a person's transition through their relationships or whatever, it's none of your business at the end of the day, and it shouldn't have, I feel like there shouldn't be a phrase to replace it. It's just that person. If you care so much about that person's life, go to them in private and talk to them about it, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think there should be a phrase.
And I mean, I think that people like to put this importance on coming out because, I mean, visibility is very important. Like, this is why we're having this event here, because we need to be visible and heard as queer people of color. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm living. Like, seriously, it's my life.
Yes,
like, I think whenever we get to the point where we don't have to do that process or we don't put that expectation on people outside of the heteronormative identity, then it won't be a problem. But I mean, it's going to take a really long time. It's going to take a lot of these type of events and a lot of people just being unafraid to talk. But I wanted to talk about the professional livelihood again because Pablo, he was here earlier. We were talking about that because QPOC, we were talking about doing an event like that for next semester, like a professional networking or like a professional forum type thing. Like whether we should put like this on our website, or like I don't know if anybody else is involved in any LGBTQ things or whatever, whether you write for an online blog or something like that. Pablo actually told us that he said that sometimes it's shifting now toward that employers like to see that kind of stuff on your resume because it shows that you are diverse and it shows that you offer a different perspective and a different type of aspect to somebody's company. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I just got an internship with Shelter, and I put QPOC on my resume because it is one of the organizations that I've been on. And I got the internship. I don't know if it was because of that or because of not, but I feel like if it's something that you truly believe in and you support and that you stand for, do it, because you don't want to be a part of somebody that's not accepting to you anyway. You shouldn't be working for that company anyways if they're not trying to take you as the whole person that you are, regardless of who you sleep with or who you